and welcome to the Dog Savant Podcast. My name is Brett Endies. I am a professional dog trainer. The purpose of this podcast is to help you if you're a dog or puppy owner looking for dog training and behavior advice, if you are a client in the real world looking to supplement the work that we are doing together, and if you're just anyone interested in dog training, dog behavior, and the life of a professional dog trainer, this podcast is for you. This is episode 98. And I always ask, please don't forget to rate, review, share, subscribe, tell other people. This podcast, of course, doesn't come out on a regular basis. I just kind of do it as time allows and when subject matter motivates me to talk about something that I feel will be of value to you if you are someone listening. And also, please just give me feedback. Let me know how the podcast has helped you, your dog, puppy, any questions you might have. I like to answer them. We're getting here on almost 100 episodes. I've said before, I love to do more consistent episodes, but kind of having incentive, knowing that it's getting out there to people, definitely would make me want to pump them out a little more regularly. Nonetheless, today's episode, I've joked about it a lot, but I'm going to do it here. I've always talked I see so many doodle dogs. When I say doodle dogs, I mean golden doodle, labradoodle, bernedoodle, sheepadoodle, oodle doodle, foodle doodle, whatever that you want to call them. There's a certain kind of theme to it. I've seen so many lately that I figured why wouldn't I talk about it, right? I don't really feel that what I say to one owner is different than the next based on their breed. It's more of just the individual dog and their situation and the kind of relationship and the needs of training. There is a consistency, as you hear on the podcast. I talk a lot about dogs or dogs, but I do see a lot of this. Now, I want to analyze, and if you know, please let me know, tell me, is this just because they're just so popular now? Is it that they are indeed a challenging breed and, I stand corrected, and that's why I'm seeing so many of them in an uptick like none other this past year? I mean, I've seen more puppies than anything during the pandemic and doing all my virtual training. It's been awesome. But I mean, on Sunday, right, I had 5 Zoom sessions, and 4 of the 5, I kid you not, were doodle puppies of one degree or another. 3 labradoodles and a sheepadoodle. I'm sorry, 2 labradoodles, a bernedoodle, and a sheepadoodle. Literally ran the gamut of doodles. So I'll talk about them, right? You're probably listening if you're one of my clients who has a doodle. They're great dogs. They're fun. They're cute. They're fluffy. I'm partial to fluffy dogs, so I'm with you on that. A lot of people, for some reason, with small children get doodles, I guess because they like big teddy bears. All good stuff. However, I find a lot of these dogs right out of the gates get into the nippiness, the hypervigilance, the herding, the drive that, you have standard poodle in there. These are working dogs. A lot of times they are looking for something to do, for structure, a job. They can't be just running around free figuring it out, whether it be for behaviors, to mitigate biting and nipping and just jumping and getting too stimulated by all the coming and goings and the kids being kids around them. Potty training, I think I just said that. And this is for any puppy, right? These rules apply to any puppy. Too much freedom too soon causes all the problems down the road. But with these dogs, it's even more so, I see. And again, it might be because I'm just seeing more of them, so I'm biased. But so we're going to really kind of talk about something. If you're a non-doodle owner or puppy owner, this will still, because it's just some training tips that for any dog will work. So structure, right? If you have a doodle puppy, they're going to thrive on structure, which means a lot more leash time, crate time, being tethered on the leash. I get it. You're not going to have all day long to be able to, bring them back to their bed every time they want to get up and follow. In the first few weeks, you're, kind of getting through this establishment of structure, and they're not herding and reacting to every get up and go and movement around the house. So they learn how to be calmer, how to be chill, how to coexist, because it's not punishment for a dog to just lay in their bed calmly, and you schedule their exercise throughout the day so they get enough of that. But then a good part of the day they learn to make calmer choices by the place training, learning to settle into their crate, and just kind of be part of the environment, not get caught up in it. So that's number one. Too much freedom too soon can be, the remedy is place training, walking your dog around the house on the leash, tethering the leash, and a good amount of crate training. And don't feel bad if you're supplementing it with the right amount of exercise, walks, play, all types of games you can do with your dog, just to get those calories burned. But then again, they should be just chill, calm. And then as time goes on, they mature, they learn how to make calmer choices and not just get these bad habits because they're just in a position where, well, I'm have access to the kids when they're running around, and I can bite them. Even in the yard, use maybe a longer leash. So if they start nipping at the kids, you can call the dog back and set a limit so they learn whenever they try to, even if they're running and playing and they start biting or jumping or, humping, whatever it is, you can cut it off, and a lot of it, again, out in the house is just a preventative. Like, well, every time the kids are around, let's just have, the puppy on the leash, our doodle puppy, because that's what we're talking about today. And just let them know every time he even attempts to go jump or bite or whatever, or every time we see a new person or before feeding or when there's a time of day when you get the zoomies and it's not appropriate in the living room, that's what this is for. And you see pretty quickly, because no one's told me otherwise, if you're consistent, that they want to do that. They actually go to their bed naturally because it's easier for them than to have to feel like they have to herd small children or anticipate or ask for things all the time, right? So that's a biggie. Even babying, right? They're fun to pet. You have to do that in doses that they can handle. Sometimes if we over pet a dog or hold them too much, they get too stimulated and they almost see it as a control, and we're just trying to give affection. So want to make sure that even initially, if the dogs, okay, we came home, dog's in their place, hanging out, everything's nice and relaxed. Okay, now I'll give you some attention. But even a little bit, you don't want to get the dog too revved up just when it's not. They should be happy but not overstimulated by life, and then get a little more stimulated when it's playtime or romping around with other dogs. But again, when they get so stimulated where it drives them to do biting, because they say, well, what do I do when a dog bites? Let's just prevent it in the first place, right? That's the best way. You see, I'm talking a lot about puppies. I do see adult doodle dogs, and it's just, if let's say this wasn't covered as a puppy, it's just a stronger issue. You get now separation anxiety because your puppy followed you everywhere around the house to get their needs met, and that was what they thought was the norm. Now that you go to work, right, or you're home all the time and you haven't gotten them used to just being alone, which is another part of where separation anxiety develops. Not as much as the hypervigilance leading to, well, now that I can't be hypervigilant, how do I deal with it? Right, so that you want to, even if you have an adult dog with these issues, let's get on it, right? Potty training issues, dogs that don't walk properly on the leash, dogs that just get so excited about play and romping and whatever the other puppies, and they never learned how to just listen and chill around other dogs. Or, okay, we're at daycare, we're at the dog park, we're at a play date, but maybe we do some training for 10, 15 minutes, get you focused, calm, earn the play, check in with me as the association, as the owner, and then you go to play. And then we practice even while you're playing how to come back in the middle of it. So these are all things that, again, as puppies, ideal, but even as an adult dog, if you're consistent, diligent, and follow all the rules, you can improve. And a lot of times just fix issues that your dog may be having, in addition to, making their obedience skills improved. Let's see. So that's, that. Let's see, grooming. A lot of people, they don't realize the grooming needs of a dog like this. It's kind of a daily thing. I would really recommend a lot of handling grooming type of exercise when they're a puppy, especially if your dog likes to resist and fight and squirm. That's what place training is for. But in addition to that, it's just good to, just get your dog desensitized to certain things. So the other part is they are cute. A lot of people get excited when they see any puppy, but doodle puppies, again, they look like little teddy bears. And you'll have to, well, we're doing a good job, Brett, that's what the clients tell me, but I got my mother-in-law, I got my friend comes over, or my kids' friends. You'll have to be strict about training people. And even like I had a case yesterday, they're going to do it, I'm sure, but like their kids, are not, they're getting the dog revved up, and at some point I say, well, kids are going to run around and play, and that's just what they do. How much are you going to try to control that? However, there's a point where, like, if the kid is like interrupting the training or petting the dog so much where now the dog can't stay calm, or laying on the dog's place where it should be their spot and the child should be next to the bed, reaching over and petting and giving the affection, again, in the context of training initially, to curb a lot of that stuff that when they're getting pet, they start biting because they're just too stimulated and don't have something to focus on while that's going on. But yeah, there's a lot of I want to call it kid training, but I've had instances where, just to help, I've had, and I think I've talked about it, where I've had, the child in front of me and just said, hey, look, you have to look at me as like your teacher, and if your teacher asks you to do something, and it was just to get them a little more consistent, of course, getting the children on board. When these puppies, because I've seen doodles be from 15, 18 pounds to 65 pounds or larger. I mean, I've seen huge golden doodles. You get a variety, and sometimes you want to get the control. If you have like a 5-year-old, do some walking. You can always do a dual leash walk where you have one leash connected to the collar and then your child has another that you're just kind of holding on so the dog won't pull, your child or anything. But there's that teaching them to give the dog commands, how to listen to their leadership as any human. They're not equal. Any human, even a baby, is a human that has to be respected differently than another puppy would be seen, from your puppy's perspective or dog's perspective. So I hope that all makes sense. I just wanted to go through this. Hopefully I was focused. I'm here, as you know, I'm in Colorado right now because I usually share my time between Colorado and Los Angeles, but because of COVID, I'm kind of up here in the mountains. And we got a lot of snow. I'm just coming down from where I live, which is a few miles of just some, it's paved, but it is, they don't really do a good job scraping it out. So it's a little icy here. So I'm half focusing, half talking here. But I hope it came out clear. Hopefully everything makes sense. Again, thanks for listening. If you're a continued listener and you're sticking with me all this time, really appreciate it. If you're a client, I always appreciate you. And if you ever have questions, either way, please reach out to me anytime. I love doing what I do, knowing I'm helping, and just, especially if I know like, hey, you're stuck somewhere and I can give you 2 minutes of an advice, or on the podcast, I may be able to respond to a question, so be it. And just tell a friend, share, rate, review, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Really helps, and it just gives me more incentive to keep pumping these out. Okay, it's been the Dog Savant Podcast, Oodles of Doodles, I guess we'll call it that, and episode 98. Okay, have a good day.